for the first part, I'm gonna be sharing with you some questions that I gathered from fans that are attending to your concerts.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, and I made sure that they bought those tickets so
Awesome.
they could send those questions. So, well, first of all, this is like a general question. Um, did you expect the response that you're getting for this Mexican tour?
Um, a little bit, but not quite like this, because whatever shows you announce, you will get in the comment section, oh, come to play in wherever we are not announcing that we're playing, right?
Hmm.
And I think the one place on the planet where we heard seen the most comments from on social media for many, many years has always
Hmm.
been Mexico. And so it's been in the back of our mind, on our radar for that reason. It's something we've been trying to push. Then it comes always the challenge that going somewhere for the first time is really hard. If you do okay the first time, second time is a bit easier, and then you just can almost take for granted. I don't have to say, oh, we're in France right now, and I don't have to say, oh, I hope we will play France on this tour. We will, because we have that relationship. So we knew it for a long time that this is probably, there's some people interested already, so we should try
Hmm.
to go. And we finally did. Is it called Hell in Heaven Festival or
Yeah.
something like that? That was the first one, right? We did,
Hmm.
uh, and I was but we didn't get, and that was amazing. But we didn't get to follow up on that because the pandemic came in
Exactly.
between. So we kind of, shit, did we lose that momentum when we finally came over? And then the same thing happened. Then we got to come back again. Um, was it, yeah, almost 1.5 years ago now, I
Hmm.
guess. And like, oh, it was amazing this time too. Cool, good. So it's been kind of in the making way longer than we ever intended it to be in the making. Um, so because of those voices were there uh, for some time, kind of expected, but then when Mexico City sells out like that, and we got a second show and it's going like that, and all around, no, it's more than anyone could hope and ask for. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I gotta say, well, we were expecting this as fans. We wanted
Mm,
this as fans, but even for us, I think we were kind of surprised because, like, for example, I when I got to see the dates announced, I was like, okay,
mm,
I'm gonna get my tickets, next
mm,
week
mm, mm.
maybe.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, I was screwed. Tickets were gone, and nobody was reselling, like, which is a common thing, Sometimes when somebody is expecting like a kind of a big show,
yeah,
resellers they just buy and they just resell, and in here nobody
yeah.
wanted to resell their tickets, so it was like a
Wow.
legit proof that
Yeah.
those were the fans.
Yeah, it was intense. And I got to go in my own time. I spent a week in Mexico City because my wife had a
Hmm.
conference there the other year. And that was also because, we're in our little metal world. So
Hmm.
inside this venue tonight, I'm super famous. But if I walk for 10 minutes away from
Yeah.
here, my fame is gone, right?
I know.
I'm not Taylor Swift, which is probably a good thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But going to Mexico City I had a couple of those random encounters in town of like,
Hmm.
oh, you are you. So, you know, not 10 people, not even 5 people, but two, three, something. And it's still that little indicator of what are the chances. So again, like Mexico been calling us for a while, and my little time that I and then even less the band together have spent there, I really vibe with it. Sometimes you go to
Yeah.
places and you're just like, I like this. I don't know why, but I like it. I like Mexico. So very excited.
Yeah, and we like you. I'm pretty sure that you're gonna enjoy it. I mean, you have been here, you played Mexico,
Mm.
but you haven't played it solo, and
Yeah,
the
exactly.
the vibe is gonna be completely different. I
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I know it's like the vibe that we have in general, like in Latin America.
Mm.
It's different. So expect something good.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You have that thing, right, where different cultures, uh, I mean, I know that there are very extroverted Swedes and there are very introverted Mexicans,
Yeah.
absolutely. But in general, the culture kind of invites for a more extroverted way of having a good time, a more let's do this in group and engage with it.
Exactly.
And when we get to go to places like that, and there are many in the world and to different degrees, it's really nice. Like the band, we always think, oh, we were good today. No, no, no. We got a lot for free today, which made our job
Yeah,
easier.
exactly.
And yeah, definitely the Mexican shows, the two we got to do, are on that list of those times when people made it easier for us in a very good
Yeah.
way.
I actually got to miss those. Those still hurt in my head.
Well, this is what we do now is a real
Yeah.
deal, you know. A festival show is always the movie trailer. Now we're
Yeah,
going to show you the film.
exactly. That actually that's one of the things that I didn't feel like really sad because I felt like you were coming and we got to see your show online in here and we were like,
Mm.
yeah, that's what we need to see here.
Mm, 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 mm.
Let's take a look at some of the questions from the
Yeah.
fans. I want to send out some kudos to Gabi Garcia. She's actually attending to the whole tour in Mexico. She bought tickets for all of those shows. She had many questions, but I mean, we're gonna try to summarize just to one, okay? So she wanted to know specifically which were the reasons that made this solo tour take so long to happen in Mexico. You already explained a few,
Mm.
but in your, if you could summarize, like give one or two main reasons why it didn't happen before.
It's very much a music piece. Kan få göra intervjun här inne, snälla, den är inte så lång. Sorry. There are a couple things that plays into that. And I guess the main thing is really very much a music touring business thing of building that relationship to find a booking agent who has an in with the right
Mhm.
promoters, like to just get that in place the first time. So it's a very boring, almost bureaucratic answer because we wanted to for the longest time. And so, like I said, the best way to describe it is like to open that door the first time to get
Yep.
to prove yourself. Also, because even if there were fans writing and stuff, for the people on the business side of things, um, it's that the promoter must ask themselves, why should we pay these guys? Who are they? You know, that first time that you show your some kind of value
Mhm.
to the people who will book you. So it's a very
Yeah.
music business reason that is hard to overcome. And I know a lot of bands know this, you know, because yeah, part is it's your art, it's your passion, it's all these things. But in able to do this, it's also a business,
Yeah.
and you get more opportunities when you start to show that you have value to somebody else. It's
Exactly.
in that sense, um, which is the sad truth of it, or just you know the reality we work in. So again, that we got to do those festivals where it's a bit safer because on a festival there are many bands and people are gonna like something, you know. And we did the show, and then people involved in the business world, you know, the music business of Mexico see it and like, oh, actually that went well, and then you have something to show to lead to this. But I promise you, next time it will not take this long for us to play a second time, a third time, a fourth time in Mexico.
Hopefully.
Now we have that relationship.
Yeah. And we will be waiting. Also, this I want to
Mm.
take an opportunity in this question. What about you guys touring with Devin Townsend over here?
Oh, wouldn't say no. Those the kind of things, who to tour with and when, it's very complex. Not just like
Yeah.
because we did the thing right where he was opening for us playing acoustic for a month, and it was amazing. And I'm a super fan since forever at this point. Uh, but I mean, he has very much his thing, his journey he's on with what he's doing.
Mhm.
Uh, and to make those stars align like that, my answer is yes, please. But it's
Yeah,
so out of our control and stuff.
I
But
know.
we would love to absolutely bring cool stuff over. Or for that matter, you know, the more familiar you get with a country, maybe open our eyes to more and more Mexican bands, and you know,
Exactly.
that feels important too. There,
Exactly.
you know, so there are many ways of looking at it, but I wouldn't mind.
So let's move on into another question, okay? Because there are a lot. I don't think we're gonna have enough time, but we're gonna try. So,
Mm.
Maffer Palma, she wants to know what would a 16-year-old Johannes think if he could see himself performing an Avatar show nowadays?
Um, well, I have moments where I become that 16-year-old here and there. Uh, and he's very excited about it. There are a lot of a lot of things in my life now that definitely are, yeah, living out some boyhood dreams, which sometimes I think, oh, so I haven't evolved in terms of my dreams since I was a kid in a way. But no, he's very pleased, and especially you have, of course, you have those things of just getting to do the thing on stage, but then you have the specifics of when you get to meet someone or people you have looked up to have expressed some kind of appreciation or respect for what you're doing. So as a fan, you get to hear good things from people you've been a fan of. Those pinch me moments, you become a kid again. The most powerful extreme version of that we had was when we went to Brazil for the first time. We were opening for Iron Maiden 3 shows, and before the first show, we were shitting ourselves, pissing ourselves, losing our minds. So like none of that experience and confidence and just trust in what we were doing because of all the years we spent doing this. Everything was gone. We were little children before we got on stage. Once we got on stage, I kind of, okay, yeah, this
Yeah.
is cool. But just because of what Iron Maiden has meant to us as any other metalhead, right? And especially collectively as a band, the first trip we went on as a band was not to play a show, it was to go and see Iron Maiden in Stockholm. So it's such an, I cannot overstate how important they've been to us,
Yeah.
and then how important they are to the world of metal and everything around it. So there, so just the other year, 16-year-old me went to Brazil and was very nervous, but then blown away. And then the grown-up me kind of caught up and started to, okay, yeah, but I'm gonna kick ass anyway. Those moments they happen here and there.
Nice. Thank you, Hans. Now let's go with another one. I don't know if this is his actual name, but it says Esau Jordison. Since the very first time you guys were here, he's meaning, here in
Yeah.
Mexico, what did you like the most of the country?
Well, those visits were so brief that I, those were airport, hotel, show, catering, hotel, airport,
Yeah.
home. Um, but again, it's because I got to go with my wife and spend a week in Mexico City. There were, because that was a whole academic thing. I was surrounded by people much, much smarter than I that
Mhm.
were cool to be around. Uh, I think I liked, and I mean, this is just brief impression from the outside, so it's really just on an impression level. But in terms of countries such as Mexico, such as, the whole Americas, really, who has this a very melting pot, complicated history because of colonialism and different forms of immigration, different segments of history, and therefore has this plethora of heritage, right? You have the native heritage that goes back so far, So I went to see, saw the pyramids and stuff, into the colonial, into the modern day, and the influx and everything, and finding a way to deal with that today.
Mhm.
What is Mexico today? How do we move forward from this? How do we include all these different forms of the inheritance people bring, heritage that people bring,
Yeah.
and also then deal with, you know, smart people words like decolonialism and all that, and still not, uh, you know, it's a very tricky, complicated, interesting, and important process that, from what I saw, my brief input
Yeah.
there, I believe that Mexico is handling that pretty well, comparably to how else it can be handled in world with one version or another of similar histories, which means that I truly got that feeling of being multicultural and being a melting pot in a very cool, exciting way. It was just that, in the center of, the old part of Mexico City, we have that big Spanish cathedral right next to this. Is it, if I remember, an Aztec excavation site?
Mm.
Right? Is Aztec or is it Inca? I mixed them up. I'm sorry,
It
but
has to
it's
be
this
Aztec.
that just the the layers of history that goes to, taking care of that and being in the now with it was
Yeah.
very fascinating.
Nice, nice. And there's plenty for you to see over here to
Oh
enjoy.
yeah. And I like
Yeah.
the food.
Yeah. What did you try? What did you actually like? Well, what did you try
Well,
and what did you like?
well, so where we because the whole band is vegan, and so is my wife and stuff. So we found a
Okay.
very good vegan place in the center, and because you nowadays you get Mexican food everywhere in the world. But one
Yeah.
thing I hadn't tried before going to Mexico proper was flautas,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and they were kind of mushroom filled and stuff, and I absolutely loved those, and they were new to me. So
Okay.
that method of making them was new to me, and I love that.
Nice. Okay, so let's go with another one,
Mhm.
Johannes. This one, it says it's Ali Cooper. He wants to ask, is there a musical collaboration that you would really like to happen in the near future?
Uh, Not in the way that people usually mean when they ask something like that,
Mm.
because would I like to hang out with people I think are great that I'm a fan of? Yes, you know. But for instance, because the collaboration, the big one we did recently was, of course, with Lizzie Hale.
Hmm.
And but that started with that Tim had awesome riffs that made me do vocals on it that would suitable for a duet. And then we had the song needed that. Then we went looking and asking and asked Lizzie. So it didn't start with, hey, we could probably get Lizzie, hey, let's write a song. No, it was the music first, which made it all the more special to me. And right now we're not sitting necessarily on that song like that, you know. Then you have ideas like that, people like that. So there are many. But there's nothing specific until you get the right track, the right idea.
Okay, so we have another one in here. Jessica Macias, she says, how has it been to perform in Latin America the last times that you have?
Really great, short and sweet. But I mean, it's only been 5 times, I guess.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, not enough.
there's
Like,
no, way more to be had. And I mean, it's quite a distance between Brazil and Mexico. So like Latin America is pretty humongous. So there's a lot left for us to do. But they've all been very memorable and special, but too
nice.
short.
Yeah, I know. It's
We're
touring
fixing
is
that
difficult.
now.
Okay, so this is like a general question because I had like a lot of fun sending this specific one. I know it's complicated. I told them, hey, this is a tricky one,
Let's try.
but yeah. So is there a possibility of meet and greets for this Mexico tour?
I don't think so. We nothing we planned at this point.
Hmm.
And it's a bit about the travel arrangements and everything. And also because yeah, no, there's a bunch of reasons where at this point we still for now haven't decided to do it. Well,
Yeah,
but that might change at some point, but at this
yeah,
point, don't hold your breath for it. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. I know. We gotta be patient, guys. So you can always stalk them in the city. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
No, but if you're cool and we have the time, then we like to meet cool people.
Exactly. Yeah. So be respectful, guys, as always. So also these ones are like well questions that a lot of people sent. So there's not someone in specific to be
Mhm.
mentioned. So what about an acoustic performance throughout your set list in here?
Well, our schedule is pretty full considering the distances we need to travel and stuff.
Mhm.
So it's not realistic at this point. Yeah, but again, over time, this is our first run. We will
Mhm.
start to be able to spend more time in the future, I think and hope, and that might happen. But that being said, also, I have very mixed feelings about turning our songs acoustic. We have always been able to, at the end of the day, find ways that are pretty fun for us. But it's
Mhm.
like these songs were made to to be metal songs, and some translate well to different arrangements. Some do it better than others, but it's always sometimes I can feel it becomes compromised versions of the original of what that song is at its best, where it would be maybe we should just write 10 completely acoustic songs from scratch and do it
Exactly.
really that way. But I don't know if we would be able to reach 10 songs like that before we as a group get too restless and just want to, break things and do heavy songs, because that's kind of how we are when we're together. So I'm sure it will happen at some point. This time schedule is pretty tight.
Yeah, understandable. Okay, so now talking about the Mexico tour, you are playing Mexico City 2 times, and because of the
Mm,
sold out, of course,
mhm.
congratulations. Hopefully,
Thank you.
you get both of them being sold out, well, the whole tour. So people is asking, what can they expect about the set list? Because people is worried, like, hey, what if they don't play this one, the first gig, and what if they
Mm.
don't do that one, the second gig? So people is freaking out. So what can you tell them to freak them even more?
To be honest, we haven't talked really what, because two shows in Mexico City, sure, but they probably are more. I'm sure a whole lot of people will go on both,
Mhm.
but but we also, I think it's fair to guess that a lot of the people on the second show will not have seen the first one. So I don't know how many changes we can do between that for that reason. Um, I I know no matter what we do, there will be way more songs that we don't play than we play. So, but we do stay on stage for roughly 2 hours. So I think we, you know,
Yeah.
put our time in the best of our ability for sure. But for those people who really hope for that one song, chances are that a few of them will not get that one song because but we also try to balance out. There's you kind of 1/3 of the set will always be those songs that, yeah, we kind of, every band has their Fear of the Dark and Run to the Hills, if you will.
Mhm.
If we take our main disc, and we will play our Fear of the Dark and Run to the Hills as far as we understand which one they are, what show elements we can put in, theater wise, and also, you know, the new album that is not so new
Mhm.
anymore, but that's the concept that we're writing with right now. Then you have 1/3 of the set, more or less, that are a bit of those, oh, we haven't played that in a long time, haven't played that in a long time, that you put in there. And there, you know, over the time of, if you get to see us on 3, 4 tours, maybe we get to a lot of those over time. But we just can't play everything all at once.
Yeah, I know. And it's also the whole experience of the tour because, like I mentioned in here, there's one person, she's attending to the whole tour in Mexico. She's doing
So
an effort.
she will hear many songs over and over again.
Yeah, as well. Okay, so this one is another, well, this actually is a question that I want to ask you. I know that you like the Beatles, and
Mhm.
one of the last Paul McCartney concerts that he had in Mexico. I know it's a long shot, but did you
I
ever get to
might have
see?
seen some, now that you mention, it may be so in passing that he posted something himself and stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, but not a full thing. But if yeah, it was
Okay.
big, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, it was not because of that. I have a question because I know, well, think I know, I understand some of your reasoning about music and how you explore your music. And I actually, that's one of the reasons why I like so much Avatar.
Hmm.
So I know, for example, that you are not fan of making covers and so on. But
Mm.
will you explore your songs with challenges like Paul McCartney did at one of those concerts? He played Obladi Oblada with mariachi. Can you picture yourself doing something alike?
100% yes. Yeah, the stuff like that at some point or another. It's always like, I would, how so many bands, metal bands, do something with a symphony orchestra.
Yeah.
My big dream in that, because that's done so many times, I would rather want to do it like with a jazz big band
Hmm.
and stuff like so. Those kind of things, yes, please. It's all a question of time, when, where, how, and all of that. For Paul McCartney to organize that is slightly easier than for us
Yeah.
with, you know,
I can
with
get you a
the machine
mariachi if you
behind it.
want.
Yeah, but then we have to rehearse, arrange,
I know.
plan. It's a whole thing, but
That's
it
difficult.
sounds great.